Another crazy night in the world of basketball as the Minnesota Timberwolves get a crazy win over the OKC Thunder. We got to talk about that, the Knicks. Been a lot of crazy games on NBA Friday night. We're going to get into all that and more on today's Locked On NBA Game Night.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On NBA Game Night, where it's every game, every night. I'm one of your hosts, Haize, one of the hosts of Locked On Bulls. I'm joined by the host of Locked On Thunder, by Rylan. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? What a night tonight, huh?
Crazy night. Not a lot of games tonight, surprisingly, for a Friday night, but the games are great. Every single game was great tonight.
Yeah, I felt like every game was coming down to the wire, and that's the way you want to do it. Multiple screens up, just getting these close finishes.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to jump right in, man. We're going to talk about your Thunder, who lost a close one to the Minnesota Timberwolves today. There were 10 lead changes in just the third quarter. Anthony Edwards hits a crazy shot, three-pointer, the go-ahead bucket there towards the end of the game. It's only the third loss by the Thunder of the season. How are you feeling about this game, Riley?
Yeah, I thought that Minnesota was by far the better team tonight, and the scoreboard does not indicate like how much better that they were at all the little details of the game. They went on the glass 71-60. Those came up huge. If Minnesota could have capitalized on their free throws, then you could have seen them gain some separation from Oklahoma City. They were able to generate 30 free throws in this game, they were able to generate 47 free throws in this game, but only made 33 of them. And I think that whenever you look at this game, the biggest thing that stands out, because there was a lot of lead changes, like you mentioned, there was a lot of ebbs and flows to it. Obviously, Chris Finch gets ejected in the first 5 minutes, and you think that that's going to be a big storyline. Now it's forgotten about. I think that Anthony Edwards, what he did at the end, that shot that he hit, Cason Wallace could not defend that shot any better. And Cason Wallace is a guy that leads the NBA in steals, is going to be an all-defensive team member. He contests that shot as tight as you can without fouling, and it didn't matter. Step back three, and then he doesn't foul up three. He lets Shai try to get to his shot and try to answer, and instead he plucks Shai and ends the game. He took over this game in the clutch, and he was awesome for this Timberwolves team, who dominated on the glass, who had more physicality, more desperation defensively, and ended up getting the win.
Yeah, I mean, and this Timberwolves team is, led by Anthony Edwards. He stepped up so much as a leader over the last couple of seasons. I really think last season is where you saw a lot of times where, when the Wolves were struggling, he called his team out, but he also called himself out. He didn't separate himself from the criticism in that team, and that was really a big step in that. He's hitting big shots this season. The Wolves are always one of those teams that, like, you have moments of doubting them, right? But then they always kind of figure it out by some point in the season and get it back together. And the Wolves are legit. I mean, they've been in the Western Conference Finals the last couple of years. This is a legit team, and they're just going to continue to be good. I think as long as Ant's good, this team's going to be really good. They need a point guard. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. How'd you feel about your Thunder, though, in this game, man?
Yeah, I thought that this Timberwolves team, it's tough to look at them, consider that they've gone to 2 straight West Finals and judge them off this regular season, which has not always been pretty. But tonight showed you what they can make this Thunder team do and not do. Like, the Thunder typically turn you over 20-plus times a night. Like, mark it down as an easy, high turnover night, and a team that does not have a point guard right now with Anthony Edwards, who has been really good against this Thunder pressure, even dating back to the Western Conference Finals. The Thunder could only generate 13 turnovers. And so that's the big kicker to me, was that you look at how they lose the rebounding battle. That's not that big of a shock. Now, to be minus 11 is particularly bad for this team, but you usually see the Thunder make it up in that turnover battle, where the Thunder are only a +2, and that did them in. The second chance points off those rebounds did them in. But ultimately, when you look at this game, Haize, from the Thunder standpoint, I mean, Chet Holmgren with 14 points on 9 shots. Like that, you're just not going to win games that way. You're not going to win games with J-Dub giving 17 points on 16 shots. And this is the same exact thing that happened against San Antonio to a certain degree. You shot 24% in San Antonio, and you saw J-Dub go for 17 points on 16 shots. You shot 28% from 3 in this game in Minnesota, and J-Dub goes for 17 points on 16 shots. They couldn't hit their threes. Their 2 co-stars did not show up tonight offensively, Even SGA, he still had 35 points, but he was not as efficient as he usually is on any aspect, shot making or decision making. He had 3 turnovers tonight, which for him, he's usually a 1 turnover a night kind of guy. So to have 3 tonight after having 5 against San Antonio, like there are patterns in these losses for Oklahoma City. If you can really junk up their offense and force them to be a 3-point shooting team, you can catch them on nights like this where they're just not hitting, where nobody can find it. Lou Dort last night was 0 for 6 against the Clippers. Not much better tonight. He did make 3 shots, but on 12 attempts and went 3 for 10 from 3. Like Lou Dort's been really bad offensively. They have not found their rhythm from 3 over the last 2 weeks, and that's hurt them. And now you have another loss here to kind of put to bed the whole chasing the Warriors at this point. I mean, you've already got 3 losses before Christmas. Those Warriors, I think, only had 2, and you've lost 2 in quick succession here, and your schedule's only going to get tougher. So this was a game on the second night of a back-to-back that was really, of course, manufactured by making the NBA Cup semifinal because the league wanted to protect them. The Clippers game was originally supposed to be Wednesday, but the league wanted to protect them in case they made Tuesday. Not only do you not make Tuesday's game, but now you have a back-to-back on top of it. And you just, at the end of the day, you're not going to win games whenever your 2 co-stars play like this and your team shoots 28% from 3.
It's difficult when you do that. And that continues to be the Achilles heel of the Thunder. Like if you can catch them on a cold shoot night and play solid defense, you can get in that. But 3 losses on the season, we're not gonna act like that, like they're struggling too much yet. It does suck that the losses have come close to like the Spurs loss, but the Thunder still think they'll be fine. They're still the buzzsaw in the Western Conference. But let's go out east. The 76ers get a win over the Sacramento Kings. Before we talk about it, we're gonna get into a short here from the host of Locked On Sixers.
Sixers come up with a 116-107 win against the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden. Tyrese Maxey comes up with a game-high 30 points to go along with 9 assists, while VJ Edgecombe was second in command for the Sixers, scoring, netting 23 points, including 18 in the second half. Also, for VJ Edgecombe, comes up with a loose ball towards the end of the game that resulted in a Tyrese Maxey 3 that helped put this game on ice for the Sixers. Not to be outdone, Andre Drummond comes up with a double-double for the Sixers, 14 points, 13 rebounds, and also was 3 for 4 from beyond the arc. Impressive things in this game for the Sixers as a team. They actually win a third quarter, this one against the Knicks, obviously, and then take control in the fourth quarter, outscoring the Knicks by 8 points. Sixers improved to 15-11 on the season.
You see this game from VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey, and that's kind of how they started off the season with those big scoring nights from each one of those. They combined for 53 points tonight in this game. The New York Knicks just don't have enough down the stretch. The 76ers get the win. Rylan, how you feeling?
I love this Sixers team from the standpoint of watchability, and I don't really care if they're a contender or not, but the hustle that VJ Edgecombe plays with for 48 minutes is inspiring, and you just cannot help but root for this guy. The putback jam, which isn't even included in the short that we just heard, was a spectacular moment to put the icing on the cake for 23 points for VJ. Tyrese Maxey is playing at an exceptional level right now, and those 2 guys really carried them. But let's not forget, Andre not only had a double-double, he had 3 threes that he hit down on 4 attempts from beyond the arc as well. And I loved what Adam Bona did in this game as a shot blocker. He was trying his best to contain Mitchell Robinson, which Mitchell Robinson, I feel bad for him that his night was spoiled because he played great as well with a double-double in his own right, 21 points, 16 rebounds, and it's in a losing effort. But this was an impressive win in the Garden for the Sixers. I thought that they really handled the way that the game flowed very well, and they were able to take control of it at about the start of the fourth quarter, really about a quarter of the way into the fourth quarter. And then after 19 lead changes and 11 ties, keep the Knicks at an arm's distance. Even as this game never separates to double digits for either side, it was like the Sixers could get up by 2 possessions. The Knicks might hit a bucket, then you know that the Sixers are going to answer. They just had a lot of good responses tonight against New York.
I know a lot's been made about the East being wide open this season, and it really does feel that way. From the Knicks at the number 2 seed right now down to the Hawks at the number 9 seed, there's only like 5 games to separate those teams. Like the East is going to be crazy to watch how this goes, and of course at the trade deadline, teams are going to make moves. The Knicks have been rumored in some moves, but I think a game like this just highlights how close things really are in the East. The 76ers are a good team. I don't necessarily see them as a contender. We'll see how much of healthy Joel Embiid they get. But, when you have a backcourt duo that can score like this and put up points, and BJ Edgecombe's energy is just ridiculous, you can't count out the Sixers in any game this season.
You can't, and I think that the East is wide open, and there's degrees of like how wide open it is, Haize. Like you look at this East, I'm very confident that from the first round to the East Finals champion is crowned, you're going to get competitive basketball every single night in this playoff run. Now, it might be the Sixers beat the Knicks twice in a series, and the other 4 games that they lose are close and competitive. And it might not be that the Sixers can beat the Knicks in the playoffs, but those games will be played between a very small margin of error, and that lends itself to variance. It lends itself to perhaps the underdog winning more than they should in a series, in a round. And I think that the East playoffs are going to be very, very fun to watch. I think that they're going to be more fun than the West playoffs, but in a large degree. I think that you can see in the West playoffs, that first round especially, be pretty lopsided. And meanwhile, on the other side of the bracket, the first round, top to bottom, be a ton of fun.
Absolutely. And we will see that. We'll be here to cover it because I do think it's going to be a very fun series to get into, man. Yeah, I mean the Eastern Conference Finals are going to be fun. It's going to be tough, and I think the East is the one that I get it where the standings are, but the Cavs can wake up at any time. Like this can change at any time in the East, and we'll see how it goes. Like I said, we get to cover it every Friday night, so we'll get to talk about it, man. But we're gonna take a brief break here. We're gonna come back on the other side of this. We're gonna talk about the rest of the games on Friday night. Start off with the Spurs and ask: are the Spurs ahead of schedule with how they've been winning this season? But first, we got to get into this. The season is heating up, and DoorDash has a way to keep fans in their bag the whole way through. Whether you're watching the highlights, the tunnel fits, or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes the entire season fun because every player has their bag. With DoorDash, fans have one too. DoorDash keeps your snacks stocked, your gear fresh, and your watch party vibes absolutely on point. There are nights when your team stresses you out. Let DoorDash become your post-game therapy. Sometimes you just need a dessert now. And if the group chat says pull up, DoorDash makes sure your show prepared, snacks, cups, even a phone charger for friends who's always at 2%. From tip-off to overtime, stay in your bag and order on DoorDash. Get snacks, drinks, and gear, whatever gets you through the season, delivered right to your door. DoorDash, in your bag all season long. Also got to talk to you guys about another one of our sponsors as well, and that is Rocket Money. Ever feel like your money just disappears each moment? It happens fast. A few subscriptions here, an impulse buy there, and suddenly the numbers in your bank account don't match the numbers in your head. Rocket Money helps you get clarity, track every dollar, and stay in control of your finances. Because managing your money shouldn't feel like a second job. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you so you can save more and stress less. The bill alerts and spending notifications help you catch small things before they turn into big expenses. Having the app find good times to save each month keep you consistent with your financial goals. Take control of your finances and cancel your unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNBA today. That's rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNBA. rocketmoney.com/LockedOn. More Locked On NBA game night coming up next. All right, Rylan. Let's get into this next game, man. We got a lot of games to get into, and not actually kind of quiet night for a Friday night. But the next game we got to talk about the Spurs. They get a 126-98 victory here over the Atlanta Hawks. Wemby scores 26 in this game, coming off the bench. How you feeling?
26 and 12 from Wemby. I love the Spurs team as a group that can really push even the biggest contenders to the limit. You saw them beat Oklahoma City last Saturday, and this Hawks team, of course, is not exactly that level of competition. But look, the Hawks have been playing some great basketball, especially without Trae Young, and in this game, Trae Young didn't play. So you played the best version of Atlanta, I would argue, and you were able to come up with a big win, 126-98. And I think that when you look at what Wemby's able to do, he is a matchup nightmare on both ends of the floor. And we know, Haize, this is a star-driven league, and styles makes fights, and what he can do to bend a style of a series and bend the style of a game really changes things. And the selflessness that this team plays with, where you can see even guys like De'Aaron Fox who have proven things in this league, deferring to hot hands like Steph Castle and letting Devin Vassell get going and trying to find Harrison Barnes in the corner. They play a very connective brand of basketball that leads to everyone finding success to benefit this team. And I think that when you look at the Spurs, like they're going to be in the hunt for a top 3 seed in this Western Conference. And I think that they're really going to lock themselves into a home court advantage seed when it's all said and done, barring whether it be 3 or 4, because I trust this Spurs team to compete night in and night out. And the rest of the competition for this home court advantage in the West, I don't trust them to compete as hard as San Antonio. And I don't know if they have the depth to do so toward the end of the year as San Antonio does to collect regular season wins. So that's the first step, for San Antonio is to get back to the playoffs. They're for sure going to do that. And I think they're going to be sitting pretty in a home court advantage seed.
Yeah, well, we shall see. I got a question for you on the Spurs, but first, I want to get into this short from the host of Locked On Spurs.
Locked On Spurs here to give you a quick reaction to the Spurs 126-98 road win over the Atlanta Hawks. What can you say? It was not even a contest whatsoever. Spurs pretty much cruised to a win. But what are some takeaways from this game where it was pretty much lopsided in favor of San Antonio? One thing I did like is the Spurs took care of business. This was a team, Atlanta Hawks, that on paper the Spurs should dominate, and they did that and handedly. Sure, the Hawks were without Trae Young and Porzingis, but nevertheless, Spurs took care of a team that was down players and put their stamp on the game. This is a sign of growth from this young team. In other words, not playing down to the competition, not letting up on the gas pedal, just taking care of business from beginning to end. Spurs did that. Point number 2 that I like is coming out of halftime, again, the Spurs continue their dominance. One thing that's been bothering this Spurs team this season, but is trending in the right direction, is coming out of the halftime very, very sluggish. They have not done that since, 3 games probably in a row now. The Spurs took care of the Hawks in that third period, 34-28. Yeah, that's a sign again. Spurs addressed an issue, halftime sluggishness, and they're getting it done. So, again, kudos to the San Antonio Spurs. And then finally, Victor Wembanyama, what can you say? Coming off the bench again, that's, by the way, the point number 3 that stood out for me, is in the bench role, again, for 3 games in a row now, he finished 26 points and 12 rebounds in 21 minutes. He was a plus freaking 29 for the Spurs on that court. Now, highly doubtful he'll continue doing that 6-man off the bench role that he's been doing lately, but it's working. He saw that it worked, ever since he's been coming off that bench, coming out with the second unit. Look, it's going to end soon. Probably against the Thunder. I can see him coming back. The Spurs got the Wizards next. But nevertheless, you like seeing Victor coming back into form. Dominant performance. As mentioned, 26 points, 12 rebounds. Yeah, 3 assists. The list goes on 2 blocks. Just pretty much surgically destroying the Hawks. So, you like how they handled business from beginning to end. You like how they came out of halftime and took care of business again. Something's been bothering them. And 3, Wemby continued to shine. Kind of an honorable mention, too, Devin Vassell in his return home game, he had 18 points in 27 minutes. He was good for a plus 23 for San Antonio. He's been having a phenomenal season. And remember how we would always call him inconsistent? Well, he's being very consistent this season. So
All right, Rylan. With that said, real quick question on the Spurs here. Do you view them as a legit contender to potentially, let's just say, go to the Western Conference Finals? I have the Thunder above everyone. And then also, are they ahead of where you would have them on the schedule now, considering that Wemby's still very early in his NBA career and the Spurs do look this legit?
Yeah, I think that whenever you look at this question, we can say that they're ahead of schedule because we are kind of not falling into the ideology of like championship or bust. Obviously, Are they going to win the championship this year? No. And so they're not going to be that far ahead of schedule. But if you look at this team, I am very confident that they win a first round series in the Western Conference. And then in that second round series, I'm very confident that it goes to 6 or 7 games if they don't win it. So I think that from that standpoint, being that competitive to push, and do you think about who they're going to play in the second round? Either Oklahoma City, Denver, Houston. I think they're still going to push either of those 3 teams to at least 6 games. And I don't think coming into this year, even knowing the hype around Wemby, you would have expected that. But I think that they are a legit contender because of the fact of Wembanyama and because of what he can do to teams. You look at what he did to OKC. That was no fluke. They were funneling shots to the guys they wanted to shoot. They made life uncomfortable on the 3 that the Thunder want to have the ball in their hands. Even Shai was uncomfortable. He was more efficient shot-making wise, but he had 5 turnovers for a guy that averages less than 2 a game. Even on his usage, he had 5 turnovers and could not get to his spots in the second half of that game. And the second when he stepped on the court, he could not get to his spots. Haize, you watch Shai a lot. How often do teams have guys who refuse to let him get there? And it's because of Wemby. Even though Wemby's not the isolation point of attack defender on Shai, you look at the night and day difference of quarter 1 to quarter 2 in that game. Because Wemby was back there, Shai's point of attack defenders, whomsoever they threw at him, were allowed to play up into his jersey because they did not fear anymore getting beat, because they knew they were no longer funneling him into Kennard. They were funneling him into Wemby, and that was not going to go well for Shai if he did beat those guys off the dribble. So because of their defense, and then because of Wemby as a matchup nightmare, just who do you put on him physically? And you hope that you can turn him into a jump shooter and he has an off night shooting the ball. But physically, who can you put on him on any given roster, on any given night that can ensure he'll take jump shots? That's going to be a hard test as well. So there's so many hard questions to answer about this Spurs matchup for any of the contenders that they are capable of pushing them to the limits. And I think that at worst, this Spurs team will be like that 24 Thunder team, Haize, where they went with the Mavericks, lost in game 6, but the point differential of that series, 0. And you could see the writing on the wall that OKC was going to be good soon. They made offseason moves. They won a championship. I think that the Spurs team will have that level of success this summer where they push whoever they lose to a 6-7 game series, and the point differential is like 0.
Yeah, I mean, and Spurs too is because of the depth. Like Wemby, of course, is what presents such a matchup problem for them. But that depth has really come together. Mitch Johnson has coached the hell out of that team as well this season, and you got to give them some credit on that one as well. So we'll see how far the Spurs can go this season. And I know Rylan's hoping they can only go so far because, yeah, I'm going to mess with you if they do. If anybody beats the Spurs, the Thunder, I'm going to mess with you.
That's true.
But all right, we're going to take another brief break. When we come out on the other side of this, we're going to talk about the Celtics win. All right. Oh, whoa, wrong one. Yep. Got to talk to you guys about a message, and that is from Gusto. Let's be real. No one starts a business for the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. That's where Gusto comes in. To take the stress out of payroll, benefits, and HR so you can finish on running your business and supporting your team. Gusto is the all-in-one remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes managing your team simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, or paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all from one place without the hassle or hidden fees. Unlimited payroll runs from one monthly price, which means no surprise charges at the end of the month. Gusto's automated tools like offer letters, onboarding materials, and direct deposits save me hours every week. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/LockedOnNBA and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's right, 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/LockedOnNBA. One more time, that's gusto.com/LockedOnNBA. We're Locked On Game Night coming up next. All right, before we get out of here, got a couple more games to talk about. I want to go right to John Corrales, the host of Locked On Celtics, here to talk about this game.
Boston Celtics got hot at the right time. They went 10 of 15 from 3 in the fourth quarter. Derek White was 9 of 14 from 3 in the game. He rose his three-point percentage 2 full points with an unconscious, insane shooting night. He saved the Celtics because they were not playing well. This win, this shooting in the fourth quarter masks a bad game from them. They gave up a ton of second chances. The Miami Heat got way too many field goal attempts. They shot 102 field goal attempts to Boston's 82 because of the second chances. And if Miami had a full roster, maybe the Celtics would have played a little bit better, but also the Celtics would have lost with this kind of effort. The first 3 quarters most of the first 3 quarters were not great, and I wasn't happy with how they played, but the shots fell, and in the fourth quarter, everything went in, and sometimes that's all you need to win in the NBA. I'm going to have a full update, full recap on a bonus Locked On Celtics podcast tonight.
The Celtics just find a way to keep winning. This is a team that, of course, with Jason Tatum being out, people didn't really know how the Celtics team was going to perform. They stayed afloat in the Eastern Conference. Jason Tatum may be making his return before the end of this year. You had Derek White and Jaylen Brown combining for 63 points in this game. Rylan, we'll turn it over to you. How you feeling?
Yeah, I think that John's right on this particular night, that it was basically a make or miss league, and the shots started to fall in a big way, and the Celtics started to win. And obviously they took advantage of the fact that it was not a complete roster over there. However, this is still a nice win for the Celtics. You'd rather have games where you pull it out in the second half due to shot variance than actually end up losing. Derek White continues to step up, and it just is an embodiment of what it feels like this team is. You have the constant in Jaylen Brown, who's always delivering for this team so far this year, and then someone of this collection of like Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Jordan Walsh, someone of this collection of guys that they have is going to have a co-star worthy night for Jaylen on any given outing, and it's going to propel them to the wins that it has, where they're better than we expected. And so you look at it, if the Celtics can get Tatum back and he's anywhere close to the All-NBA player that he is when he does get back, then their only real concern that's hindering this team right now for me, Haize, is their front court. And I wonder, does that to you open the door of like, if you're Brad Stevens and you've seen this team play at the deadline and they're still playing at this pace and you're still getting what you're getting from JB and from Derek White and from Pritchard, do you think to yourself, let's just get a nice, buy low insurance front court member just in case Tatum comes back and is good, so we don't waste this playoff run? Because if they can just shore up this front court and the East is so wide open and you have Tatum and you have Brown, you have White and you have Pritchard, etc., you feel pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, if they can get a center in there, like between the ones that are rumored to have been available, like a Daniel Gafford or someone in here, you just never know what you're going to do. And they have that trade chip in Anthony Simons that they can cash in at any point in time to try to, pursue what they want on at the trade deadline. This is a Celtics team you just can't count out. They can be back contenders this year. And I tell you what, when Jason Tatum went down with that Achilles, I didn't think we'd be here even now. So.
I did not think so. I thought that this was going to be a classic, like, the Celtics get to take a year off and then they're going to lose a lot of games and they're going to end up with Darren Peterson or AJ or Cam Boozer. But instead, the Celtics have a home court advantage seed right now in the East.
Yep. We'll see how that continues. Let's get to the last game tonight. My Chicago Bulls took on the Cleveland Cavaliers. We're going to hear from Danny Cunningham, host of Locked On Cavs, first here.
Danny Cunningham here at Rocket Arena. There's a high school basketball game going on the floor right now, so we're going to walk the concourse instead to talk about how the Cavs lost another game. They fall to the Chicago Bulls 136-125 on Friday night. The Cavs defensively were pretty bad. I don't know it was necessarily as bad as 136 points, but it certainly wasn't good. They struggled in transition again. They got back cut again a ton. They just really can't do anything very well other than force turnovers at times defensively. Now, the bright side was they did score 125 points. Darius Garland, I thought, looked really good. He had 35 points. He hit 6 threes. He looked at least very close to who Darius Garland should be. And if you want to take away a positive from that for the Cavs, that's certainly the one to take away. And they did compete hard. Like, they played hard in this game. They were missing Donovan Mitchell. They didn't have Craig Porter Jr. Obviously, Evan Mobley is still out. Sam Merrill, Max Strus, Larry Nance Jr. Like, this is a team that was down 6 rotation players in this game. But ultimately, you are what your record is. And the Cavs are 15-14 right now. They've lost 8 out of 11 games. They are a team that doesn't look like, if the season ended today, could get out of the play-in. And that is a bad place to be for a team that we all thought had championship aspirations heading into the season. Now, luckily for the Cavs, it is mid-December. There's still a lot of time, but that time isn't forever. It's a finite thing. They need to figure it out, and they need to start looking like they're going to figure it out soon, if nothing else.
The Cavs lost their third game in a row, 2 to the Chicago Bulls, 1 to the Charlotte Hornets. As Danny said there, this is a team that we know had championship aspirations coming into this team. And so far, they don't look like that. Now, this is the Eastern Conference. You can turn it around quick. They haven't been 100% healthy. Donovan Mitchell was out this game. No Evan Mobley. Can the Cavs still turn this around? Do you think maybe they missed their window here, Rylan?
Well, I certainly feel emotional after listening to Danny Cunningham talk about the finite time and life is fleeting and we never know what's going to happen next. I mean, this is really a crushing day. I'm hearing about how small of a window of time we have left in our lives, but the Cavs also have a small amount of time left in this window as well. Yeah. And they're kind of between a rock and a hard place to me, Haize. They, for some reason, to me, have taken on the identity of a team that has a laissez-faire attitude night to night, for a team that's not done anything with this core. And I wonder if you still give this core time of, like, do you still say, you know what? Yes, there's been playoff shortcomings. Yes, the season has not started the way that we wanted it to, but just get in the dance, be healthy for once in the playoffs, and let's finally see what this core is about. Or do you go make a move at the deadline, which, again, is still not exactly a great solution? Let's say you do make some massive switch up at the deadline and you shake the league up with a trade and you remove one of these core members who have gotten years to play together. And now you have 3 months. You talk about finite time, Haize. You only got a couple months to then make that team jail and push a lot of chips in for that playoff run. So I don't know what the exact right answer would be. My answer would be, you know what? This is the hand that we were dealt. It is the wide open Eastern Conference. Surely it's not going to get any worse than this for Cleveland. They have too much talent for that to happen. So let's just ride this year out. And then in the summertime, make those decisions. Because I think that right now, any decision that you would make to shake up this core would be rooted in a lot of raw emotion versus thinking clear-headedly after the season's completely over. And I just think that as we know in the offseason, Haize, like it's just easier to make big moves like that with the lack of limitations that there are in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And they just have to see this one through. Like you said, you hit the nail on the head there. See where the conclusion of this goes. Their moves are going to be there in the offseason. When they lock in all the members of this core, I mean, they have all years left on their deals. So it's not like anybody, is really expiring at the end of this year. They're just going to have to take a real hard examination and look at themselves wherever the season ends and ask them, are they closer to being like one or a couple moves away from being a championship team? Or do they have to make a big shift? Because we can say all day long, like, yeah, we weren't healthy in the playoffs. Now you're not healthy during the regular season. At some point, you just have to realize this core is not going to be healthy enough and do something to change it. And that may be where the Cavs are. But to Danny's point, we're still at the end of December yet. There's still a lot of basketball left to be played. The Eastern Conference is wide open. And hopefully they can turn it around. But as it looks right now, it doesn't look good. So
doesn't look good. It's getting late early, as we would say. They need to turn this thing around a bit. A Christmas Day, let's call it the official Friday Night Locked On NBA Game Night statement. Christmas Day could be a massive game for the Cavs. If they win it, they're back. It's like Groundhog Day, Haize. I'm proposing Christmas Day is Cleveland Cavalier Groundhog Day. If they win, they're back. If they lose, it's over.
I'm gonna hold you to that. We'll talk about that and see where we stand on that one, man. Rylan, thank you for joining me, man. Anything left before we get out of here, man?
Man, this was a lot of fun. I always love hopping on with you, Haize, and you can go find him at Locked On Bulls, me Locked On Thunder, and of course, just stay here at Locked On NBA Game Night every night, so that way you can hear what's going on around the NBA.
Absolutely. Locked On NBA Game Night is available every night for every game. You can catch us on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, all the good spots. We'll catch you guys again next Friday. Thank you guys for tuning in, man. Peace, y'all.